Probably just punch in Google, JDK. In this video, punching in Android Studio isn't going to yield the best results. I did it, and it seems that a lot of the links there don't lead you to this page. So instead of, going into Google and typing in Android Studio, what I recommend is that you just copy this link word for word and punch it into your browser. And if you did that properly, it should lead you to this page here. So from here, what we're going to want to do to download and install Android Studio is we're going to want to click on this green button here. So I have a Windows operating system. So it says download Android Studio for Windows. If you have a Mac, I believe it would say for Mac. So I'm going to click here. And actually, before we do that, let me just show you something. So what we did before this is we went ahead and installed the JDK, right? So you'll notice that Android Studio's requirements is that it has a Java development kit, right? That's why we installed that first, because this IDE depends on having the JDK that we just installed. So just so you know. So from there, like I said, we're going to want to click on the Download Android Studio button. We'll click on I have read and agree with the above terms and conditions. And then from there, we're going to click on Download Android Studio for Windows. So once it's done that, it's going to go ahead and start downloading at the bottom left here. And you'll notice that this is a rather large file size. So don't get discouraged if your browser says something like 55 minutes till it's finished, right? This is, like I said, rather large, and so it could take quite a while. So just give it some time, and then when it's finished downloading, go ahead and install it to your operating system. The one thing I do want to point out to you guys is Android Studio tells you that some people have problems actually installing Android Studio because it can't find that JDK that we just installed. And the reason that is on Windows, sometimes you need to add a specific environment variable to your properties, right? So just make sure that if you have trouble installing Android Studio that you follow these instructions here, right? Exactly as they say it here. So I've already done this once before and I know that it works. So the one part that's not going to be the same is yours is going to be something like 1.8, right? So pretty much you're just going to want to go to Program Files, then Java, and then just copy whatever it says there. So instead of JDK 1.7, you should say JDK 1.8, something like that. So that's actually going to do it for installing Android Studio, guys. First off, we're going to open up Android Studio. So mine is right at the bottom here. And when it's finished loading, we'll go ahead and click on Configure. So right here. So we're going to click on Configure, SDK Manager, and then once we're in here, we're going to click on Launch Standalone SDK Manager. So that will pull open a window like this, and you might not have all this crazy log coming up. It might just go ahead and open up, so I'm just going to close this. And you're going to have something that looks very similar to what I'm looking at here. So I'm just going to kind of minimize this stuff so we can get a better view. And I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to install. So first things first, we're going to go to this Tools portion right here. And we're going to check Android SDK Tools, Android SDK Platform Tools, and then the latest Android SDK Build Tools. Just like that. So you want to check those three first off. From there, what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to Extras. We're going to expand that. And you're going to want to make sure that you have Android Support Repository checked, Android Support Library checked, and then we're going to go down to Google Play Services, and then Google Play Repository. And then, let me double check. So from there, we're going to want to go all the way to the bottom, and we're going to grab this Intel x86 emulator accelerator. All right, so grab that as well. Great. So once you have all those checked, now we're going to get to a little bit more of the nitty-gritty. So now we're going to go to Android 6.0, and there's going to be an easy way to install these, and there's going to be a more involved way. So I'm going to show you the easy way first. The easy way is you just check the whole box, right? You check the whole box, and it will ensure that you have this SDK platform or tools so that you can target Android 6.0, right? This way will ensure that you have all that stuff and more. If you want a little bit longer process but less download size, I'm going to show you how to do that too. So what you can do is you can expand this and you can check only these things. So you could say documentation is going to be one of the things that you're going to want. You're going to definitely want the SDK platform. You're going to want the Google APIs. And then you're going to want the sources for Android SDK. So far, these are what I would call the essentials. From there, the rest of these things are all targeting the emulator, right? Except for the samples. Samples is exactly as it sounds. It's going to give you some samples that demonstrate the latest features, right? So these system images essentially are emulators for whatever they're explaining. So Android TV emulator, a Android Wear emulator, and then the rest are a little bit more complex. Essentially what the Intel 86 Atom is it's a faster way of emulating an Android device. If you click this ARM, this is a slower emulator, but it emulates more what the Android architecture is. But what I would recommend is, whatever you have. If you have a 64-bit operating system, then I would grab this Intel 8664. If you have a 32-bit, then you can just grab this one right here. Matter of factly, I might download this ARM as well, just to be safe. So these Google API emulators right here essentially are including, things like Google Maps, Google Drive, all the Google apps. It's going to include them inside the emulator if you download the Google API emulator. So you can check these as well, right? So like I said, this is a little bit more involved. Hopefully I gave you just a little bit as to what each one of these things is and why they matter. So you're going to want to download those things. Essentially, you're going to download these for whatever version you are going to target. So right now we're downloading this stuff for Android 6.0. We also want to download this stuff for Android API level 22, 21, and actually that should do it for us. So we're going to go and, like I said, we can either check all of it. This is going to be a bigger download size, but you don't have to go through and check all those and take that lengthy process. Or you can just kind of, like I said, grab the SDK platform, sources, Google API, and then I would grab these three here, and then these three here. So smaller download size, but it's a little bit more complex and involved. So like I said, now we have 5.1.1, and then we have 6.0, and then finally we're going to grab 5.0.1. So I would get the SDK platform, once again, Intel, or both Intels, the ARM, Google APIs, all three of these here, and then the sources for Android SDK. So once you have all those things checked, what you're going to want to do is click on Install 13 Packages. And you'll notice that it's going to say to some of these, accept a license, right? You're going to have to accept the license and then you can install. And this doesn't show exactly how yours might look. Sometimes you have to scroll down in this Packages panel and actually select multiple of these things. So you'll have to select it and then accept it for all the ones it asks you. Okay, so you'll check it just like I'm doing now and then click on accept. And then finally, you're going to click on install, right? And then I only have one because I have most of these installed already, but luckily I have checked one that I don't have installed so I can kind of show you guys the process. So essentially what it's going to do is it's going to say downloading the SDK platform, and then it's going to install it for you automatically. So this is going to be quite a lengthy process because this is quite a large file size, regardless of the way you've checked it. If you checked all of it, it's going to be a larger file size and in turn a longer time period. If you haven't checked all of it, it's still going to be quite a large file size, but a less lengthy time period to install all this stuff. So just give it some time, make sure it's installed, all that stuff, and that's actually going to do it for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.